So welcome back to another episode of How to Look Like You Go to the Gym podcast.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone.
How are you?
I'm good. Is that the dishwasher going?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck to that.
We have a new setting.
Yeah, new background. We thought this looked better.
Ambiance.
That's it. What are we discussing today?
We're discussing protein.
Protein.
Fucking protein everything these days that you're seeing on social media. But it's annoying, it's a pain in the hole, there's nuance to it, but it's pretty fucking important. And if you're not getting in enough protein, you're shooting yourself in the foot, whether you have a fat loss goal or you're trying to build muscle. So long story short, get in your fucking protein. I think that's the end of our podcast episode.
That's it. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Now I'm only taking the piss. The reason you want to get in enough protein is, without going into this in too much detail, because we're going to be discussing how you actually get in enough, like giving you real suggestions, so that while you're listening to the podcast, you'll be frantically taking down notes and your hands will start cramping up and shit, and it'll feel awful, but you'll also love it at the same time. The reason you need to get in protein is because if you get in an optimal amount of protein, you will see a bigger change per kilo lost on the scales. And if you're trying to gain weight as muscle, which is what I'm trying to do at the moment, you will also see, you'll get more benefits from that gaining phase. You'll see more net muscle gained. So it's really important for those reasons to ensure that you're basically not wasting the time and effort that you put into the gym.
I'm doing that as well.
You're doing that as well, gaining phase. And you're transitioning at the end of the month to a cutting phase, is that right?
Yeah, dieting phase. But I can't wait because I'm just a bit chunky right now and I want to see what I've built.
Got to reveal the muscle underneath.
Yeah, like a surprise. So we wanted to give you practical advice on like ways that you, a normal fucking Joe Soap, can start getting in more protein into your diet, with ideally not having to change your diet around completely, because that also makes it harder to implement things if you're changing up your whole diet from scratch. It's not realistic either. So we're going to go through it in terms of breakfast, lunch, dinner and snacks.
Yeah, that's it.
So what I wanted to run through specifically, what we'll do is we'll start with breakfasts, and there's loads of different ways. Like, I find that I forget how little people actually know about how to get protein into their diet. But when it comes to breakfasts and stuff, it can be very, very easy, and that's what you want it to be. So things like adding into your normal breakfast that you're having already, protein yogurts. Ideally, you want to be getting ones that are like on the lowest end, the 22 gram protein ones. But ideally, you really want to be getting the 25 gram ones so that you're not playing catch up in the rest of your meals throughout the day. There's also the likes of protein milks. They go great with cereal. So like if you are a cereal eater in the morning, just replace your normal milk with a protein milk. And
shout out to all the cereal goblins out there.
They are just, it's so simple. You're nearly kind of getting 2 meals in one, because the protein milk is like a meal in itself, and then you're getting cereal on top of that.
It's filling.
That's also a really handy one. Another huge one that I see that wrecks my fucking head, and it comes from the fear of what they had back in the day of basically saying if you eat too many eggs, you die, or you get extremely high cholesterol. If you're someone that has eggs in the morning, stop fucking around with having 1 or 2. Do not be afraid to have 3 or 4. Like, the fats in them in themselves, if that's what you're worried about, they're your healthy fats. They're the fats that you want to be getting into your diet. So yeah, instead of going for 1 to 2 eggs, stop being a little bitch and get in 3 to 4. Other ones, if you have like a ham toasty even in the morning, and this one will kind of trickle through to the lunch ones, is if you stop having 1 to 2 slices of ham, have 3 or 4, and the same goes for cheese as well. Again, you're not having to reinvent the wheel. It's actually just having more of the protein portion of the food that you're having within the meal.
Unless you combine them. So like 2 cheese and 2 hams.
Yeah. Another one then is also medallions. So if you're a fan of having a fry for breakfast, but you also want to make it lower calorie and higher protein, turkey medallions. There's also turkey rashers. They taste a bit like leather though if you don't cook them properly. Bacon medallions.
You like to burn them.
Bacon medallions are really nice as well, and they're just stripping the fat off of them, but they're lower in calories and they taste pretty good. They actually have higher protein than a normal rasher as well. That's the ones that I would suggest for breakfast alone. Do you want to go on to lunches?
I mean, just before we go on to lunches, to give some advice on the breakfast, because a lot of people that are watching might skip breakfast or listening. You can skip breakfast and still hit your protein goals. You'll just find that it's quite hard to catch up on it later in the day. So if you're struggling to get in enough protein, and by the way, decent recommendation for most people is 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight. And if you have a lot of body fat on you, then you can do that per centimeter of height, if you're very obese, for example, because otherwise it's just super unrealistic. But if you're struggling with protein and you're not eating breakfast, try and just get in a high protein breakfast. I know you might not feel as hungry in the morning, but if you do it and get in a routine of doing it, eventually you will get hungry to eat that breakfast. I used to not have breakfast for the last couple of weeks, and I've started having that now first thing in the morning. And I shit you not, within a couple of days, I started feeling hungry for that breakfast again. But you have to bring it into your meal rotation first before you start getting hungry for it. And remember, you have to ask yourself, would you rather have that hunger in the morning for breakfast, or would you rather have that hunger added on to your total hunger for the day in the evening when you're more likely to snack? Personally, I'd rather have that for breakfast.
Yeah, and you don't have to have a huge meal either. Like I mentioned, you could have a protein milk alongside your cup of tea or cup of coffee and bring it with you in the car. If you're not a massive meal person, that's absolutely fine. I can't even remember, did I mention protein powder?
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't, and that was the main that's the one that I have every single morning. One thing I will say on protein powder as well, though, that's a great way to add in protein, but make sure you're having enough of it. I see too many people only having 15, 20 grams worth of protein powder. You might as well not be having any protein at all, to be honest. So if you do struggle and you're still finding that you're having protein powders within your day-to-day, increase the amount that you have. I usually have about 40 grams in my oats, and it just makes hitting, I have a goal of 140 grams of protein to hit every day. It just makes it so much easier. And that's what you want to do with these, is just make it as easy as possible to get in your protein and get in your calories, because the easier it is, the more you'll enjoy it and the less you'll be stressing, and you won't have to think about it as much as well.
Yeah, try and get in 25 grams of protein plus in the morning for breakfast. I fucking challenge you. See if you can do it. The next one then is lunches. Lunch is an interesting one because you have a group of people that don't have lunches at all, and then a group of people that have lunches and they're completely fine and they prep that and there's no worries. I know breakfast was a big one people struggle with. So for lunches, you're pretty much left with the same options that you'd have for dinner. Now, breakfast, lunch, dinner, they're fake concepts. We made them up. So there's no reason you can't have fucking steak and chips for breakfast if you want. But that being said, it would look a bit weird. So I'm going to give you options for lunches that are more socially acceptable, and then give you some less socially acceptable ones afterwards. So make sure to say if you want to listen to them. The first one's going to be your bog standard meal prep options, right? So you want to think protein first in your head. You have chicken, turkey, beef, fish. Those are going to be your main sources, your pieces, right? And this is in a Tupperware lunchbox, right? I'm not talking sandwiches. I'll move on to them in a second. So you want to start with them. Generally, if you have less than 150 grams of meat, you'll probably struggle to get in a big portion of protein. 25 grams of protein for lunch, unless your protein requirements are very low, is a bit shit. I won't lie to you, it's piss poor. 40 grams of protein in your lunch is good, and you might be watching Barry, how the hell? If you have 150 grams of chicken, if you have 62 grams of rice, that's cooked rice, so what, probably in and around the lines of 50 grams of dry rice or 40 grams of dry rice. I don't know how it works out as, but
it could be half a packet of microwave rice. Think of it that way.
Half a pack of microwave rice. That's
portion-wise,
roughly portion-wise. You have your main meat source, 150 grams, plus your carbohydrate source: pasta, rice. Quinoa is a good one if you're trying to lose fat and stay full, but I think it tastes like dirt. It's not for everyone. So if you like that, try that. And then you have noodles, for Asian food. It's also great.
We're not good at cooking Asian food.
Yeah, we can't do it. It ends up tasting like socks.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. We need a wok. But and then you have your veg on top of that, and you can have an additional protein source that would be like beans or cheese, right? There's something you add to the meal that bulk up the protein. Or if you want to add like yeast flakes or yeast powder to a sauce that you're making for the meal, that will also bring in more protein again. So like beans, peas, lentils, even that sort of stuff, right? You can easily get in 40 grams of protein in a meal like that. 150 grams of chicken has you at almost 35, actually no, it does bring you to about 35 grams of protein. And it's not unreasonable then to get at least 5 grams of protein from your carbs.
Yeah,
And
even wraps as well.
Yeah,
You'd
I'll
be
go on to
surprised.
wraps. I'll go on to wraps in a second, but that's 40 grams of protein, not even including the extra bits you add in on top. So if you have 20 grams of cheese, you're getting another 5 grams of protein on top. So that's bringing you to 45. But a lot of the times, if you're really savvy, you can have a bit of extra chicken, a bit of extra cheese or beans, and you can get up to 50 grams of protein quite easily. Okay? That is how you do it for lunch. That is the best way of doing it, in my opinion. The other one then, you mentioned it, is like wraps and sandwiches. You tend to be a bit better at them than me.
I used to hate them though. I
Really?
used to not be a sandwich person at all. Like I just hated sandwiches, and I'm just like, I think part of that though came from because I felt like there was so little in them. Like, it's pathetic having a ham sandwich or one slice of ham, and that wouldn't fill you for nothing, do you know? So I think if you're a sandwich person, you need to have chicken and ham both in it. Like, it's even still, if I have a sandwich with just ham and cheese, I wouldn't feel massively full. I would rather have chicken in it because I feel like it adds more bulk to the sandwich if I have chicken versus ham.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what you have for like a meal? Like when I say like chicken curry and rice, everyone has a vague idea of how much chicken that is. That is the amount of chicken you need in your sandwich. And if you can't fit that into your fucking sandwich, have it on the side. Just garnish a bit of chicken. This is where it gets less socially acceptable. But have a think about that for a second. There is literally nothing wrong with that. If you have 150 grams of chicken, you have 80 grams of it in the sandwich, and you have the remainder on the side in a lunchbox or on a plate, and that's seasoned nicely with some veg. Nothing wrong with that.
It's like having 2 lunches.
Yeah, that's what you need to do though. Some people will they'll limit themselves by these rules that like their sandwich has to be a certain size and it has to be a certain amount of meat and they can't have anything else outside that, and a sandwich is a sandwich. And if they only get 15 grams of protein or 20, well that's it then. They just tell everyone they struggle to get enough protein. You have to be willing to push the boundaries a bit with the protein if you want to get in enough, and then make that your new norm.
Yeah, it'll only feel like you're pushing the boundaries of it at the very beginning.
Yeah, like that's just how me and Tegan eat now. That's how we teach our clients to eat so that they can get in enough protein. So it will feel weird at first, but keep in mind it is incredibly common for people to not eat enough protein. So by definition, it's going to be weird for you to be eating enough. Like your diet's going to be weird because it's not normal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what you could also do just as a addition to your lunch as well is if you have shops near you or you've access to a fridge, just add a protein yogurt alongside your lunch as well.
Definitely. I'll let you
excuse me.
bless you. I'll let you cover all the snacks, and then with the snacks, keep in mind, guys, that you can add these snacks to the breakfast, lunches, and dinners if you like.
Question for you.
Yeah.
And this is a
go for
serious
it.
question. Is putting fish fingers in a sandwich socially
What
acceptable?
the fuck? What the fuck? Okay, yeah, it probably is, to be fair. I wouldn't shun someone for it. I used to go to lunch with a lad that used to eat the Roundtrees or the packets of jelly that you melt with boiling water. He just used to have them like a chocolate bar and bite into them. There's no protein in them. Well, there's a bit of collagen, but it's not the proper protein.
What the fuck?
So I've seen my fair share of socially unacceptable.
So it's not actually in
snacks.
its jelly form. It's the pre-thing that you
pre-jelly.
put in. Oh,
The pre-jelly, just pre-jelly slices for lunch. It'd be so sweet as well.
vile.
But yeah, and by the way, I'm lumping in bagels, wraps, all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's in the sandwich category. Fucking baguettes.
Yeah, now baguettes would be higher in calories, just if you're wondering from a fat loss point of view. But from a wrap perspective, you can easily find wraps they can sometimes be on the higher side of calories, but you're looking at anywhere between 170 to maybe 220 calories, and you could get in an easy 6 to 7 grams protein just in the wrap itself.
Yeah.
Depending on slices of bread too, some slices of bread could be 5 grams per slice.
Yeah.
So straight away, it's actually relatively easy to get the protein amount increased with the likes of, for the lunches, obviously you can have wraps and bread and stuff for dinner, and that's where it gets a little bit less socially acceptable, because I wouldn't really have a sandwich for dinner now. But like, sometimes you gotta do what you do. Gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Do
your
what
poo.
you do.
Do you want to tell them what you're having for lunch at the moment?
Yeah, so I'm having a sweet chili chicken wrap, and I was having scrambled eggs on toast for ages, and I just got fucking sick of it. I just got to the stage where I was just like, I can't have it anymore. Kind of just gives me the gawks when I start to smell it, and like it was putting me off. And to be fair, I ate that for ages, so there was bound to be a point where I got sick of it. But I changed it to sweet chili chicken wraps because I know I like it. Like, I know I like sweet chili wraps. And the only reason I actually ended up liking sweet chili wraps was because I used to love, when I was younger, the McDonald's sweet chili wraps. That's where I found my love for sweet chili wraps. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to make my own. So I can get spicy wraps. I have a paprika wrap with chicken in it. I usually have about 200 grams chicken. Then just add in more bulk to the wrap itself. I get like pre-made bag of like salad. So I literally don't have to wash it, cut it or anything. I can just put my claw in and just take it out and fuck it on the wrap. And it's just easy. Yeah.
Master chef.
And it's easy for me. And then I add the sweet chili sauce then for more flavor, and it's bang on. It hits the spot, helps me get in my protein, and it's just all bunched up together. So there's like not loads of bits of something.
For you.
Yeah, that's what you want, like just in the one go, bit of chomping.
Keep in mind, you heard that right. She said 200 grams of chicken. So like that's a way above average serving size for what you would get in like a deli or a shop. So if you're thinking, oh, it's fine, I'll get my wrap in a deli or a shop, they won't give you near that much chicken. So yes, getting in more protein through like really conventional means like getting in more meat is going to be more expensive. But that trade-off is probably going to be worth it, because some people pay an arm and a leg €100 a month for supplements anyways. So it shouldn't be hard to justify paying an extra €50 to €100 a month on making sure you can always hit your protein target easily, so you get way better results from the gym. If this stuff is important to you, that is. If you're like, I don't really care, fine, get less protein and struggle with it more.
And suffer.
If you do want like cheap sources though, like relying on whey protein, those shakes you get in the shop, and eggs, those are going to be your cheapest source of protein. And there's nothing wrong with eggs. You can have 4 eggs, scrambled eggs for lunch, because some people might have genuine struggles with their budget, and the eggs are handy for that. Now you'll still pay more than just obviously having 1 or 2 eggs. Like, eggs aren't always dirt cheap, but cheaper than chicken, usually.
Yeah, well, it's also quite cheap as well in the grand scheme of things. Apologies, my eye is really itchy. Is cottage cheese. That's quite cheap.
I fucking hate cottage cheese.
Yeah, I hate it as well. My followers on my account know I hate cottage cheese. It's vile. I'm just letting you know, because I know there's a lot of people that like cottage cheese and they can like make it sweet or savoury. Oh, but like that is an option.
I think I could probably like it if it was on the right stuff, maybe. Like if it was made into like a dessert.
Maybe, yeah. And like one other thing too, just before I move on to snacks, with dinners at the moment, like with myself and Barry, we have the same goal at the moment. We eat the same dinner, and we pretty much, it's like the same portion as well. We eat the same thing. Now, the only difference was if I'm dieting, I'd have less of like the carb source, but still everything stays the same. Is we're having a Mexican burrito bowl, which is just such a handy way to get in protein, because you're having your chicken, you're having cheese on top, and you're also getting beans as well. So we have red kidney beans. And again, that's 3 sources of protein. That just makes it easier. And sometimes it ends up being like 50 grams, 55 grams, depending on how much of whatever you put in it. and it tastes class. We have Mexican rice with it as well, and we have frozen veg. So again, it's super simple to make. Like what we do is we batch cook our chicken for X amount of days, could be 3 or 4 days. Saves us time cooking. We take it out then for our dinners, and it's just super simple. We have to only kind of meal prep every, would you say 3 to 4 days?
Yeah, every 3 to 4 days. Like we put like
handy.
1.5 kilos worth of chicken in the oven at once in
Yeah.
like fillets, and get that, like buy them in like more bulk because it's cheaper, and then just share that. That's
Yeah.
the easiest way.
And it's so much easier because we eat the same thing every single day. So if you're someone that is trying to reinvent the wheel with making meals, stop. Just stop what you're doing. Until, if you're struggling with consistency, eat the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner until you get to the point where you're very consistent. Then you can bring in some more flexibility, and that's a really handy tip, especially with protein. Like if you're messing around with recipes, it can be very difficult to hit your protein. You might end up making a breakfast that you've never tried before, and it actually ends up only being 15 grams. You're playing catch up then for the rest of the day. Just make meals that you know are going to have a minimum amount of 25 grams protein in each main meal. Have them on rotation. Bob's your uncle, dog's your cat.
Yeah, that's how you do it. It shouldn't be fucking difficult to hit protein every day. It's difficult to learn how to hit protein, but it's not difficult to hit it every day once you know how. If you know what your day needs to look like so that you can hit your protein, but then you're deliberately not eating those meals and setting up your grocery list so you can eat those meals regularly, there's your problem. Mm-hmm. It's not that you don't know how to get in enough protein. It's just that you're not doing it. And I guess some part of that's like social media. People think that diets look fancier than they do, but the people that are really successful with it have incredibly boring diets because they've found what works for them when it comes to hitting protein consistently. If you like cooking, bring in more meals, try new things, but just be prepared to struggle to hit your protein.
Yeah.
The more creative you get with your nutrition. Just be prepared for that. And if
Creative
you're okay with
doesn't always mean good.
No, but if you're okay with that trade-off and you like cooking and you're like, it means that some days you'll fail to hit protein, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Do that. I realize as well, like we must have an insane, I'm saying like dumb amount of protein information in our brains. Just store like a fucking computer chip of just protein.
This is what I mean. I think I forget, I said at the start of the episode, I forget how little people actually know about protein, and they just see it on social media. High protein this, high protein that. And they're like, well, but why? Why is it high protein? Like, why is everything high protein?
Yeah, we're professional protein eaters at this point.
But before we go through the snacks, do not forget, if you are enjoying listening to these episodes, whether you are watching or listening to us, make sure to rate the podcast 5 stars. I will only accept 5 stars. You only accept 5 stars.
Only 5 stars.
No less. And the only reason being, because I want to justify my reason, because I'm not just getting you to do something for the no sake of it, is it actually helps us reach more listeners just like you. So it pushes our podcast to very similar audiences, this audience being the one you are, our audience. So rate the podcast 5 stars. If you do want to be notified on any other episodes that we upload, make sure you follow the podcast and you'll get notified. But other than that, we will get into the snacks. Right, so snacks. I had to make a little bit of a list of these because I just wanted to make sure that I go through all of them, because some of them I absolutely cannot stand, but I have to be inclusive. The first one being Baby Bells. They're a very handy one. I don't like them
so
personally.
Good. The best.
Barry does like them. They're very handy snacks on the go. Keep them in your handbag, keep them in your bag, maybe not for long periods of time, but like while you're traveling to and from.
6 grams of protein, a Baby Bell. You can just hold them in your pockets. Like coins.
What was it that you said they were?
Pocket cheese.
Pocket cheese.
Yeah.
That's what we call them. So Baby Bells is one of them if you're a cheese lover. Another one that is not as popular, and I haven't particularly tried them, but it's beef jerky. Barry has tried beef jerky strips. They're like dry. It's just basically dried meat, isn't it?
Yeah, I like to get them like in airports sometimes. It's basically just like fucking dehydrated beef. I don't know how it doesn't go off. It's kind of disgusting. Looks like dog food.
Yeah, it does.
But after the first few bites, you kind of warm up to it. You're like, you know what? This is kind of nice. It's like meat crisps.
Is that what it's like?
That's kind of what it's
Oh,
like.
yeah. I kind of figured.
Um,
Does it taste like my burnt turkey rashers?
A bit nicer actually. No offense. You really burn them turkey rashers, like they would survive a nuclear fallout.
Okay, so that is the beef jerky. Another one that is very handy and a lot of my clients use and I use when I'm home is Clearway Isolate. So the big difference between normal protein powder and Clearway Isolate is think of the Clearway as like adding My Wadi or diluting juice to your water, whereas normal protein powders are more kind of indulgent. They're more like, like your chocolate, your vanilla, that sort of thing. They're not really like My Wadi or Robinson's, whatever diluting you use. It can just be a very handy way of killing two birds with one stone, increasing your water intake, but actually getting in 25 grams of protein through your water, which is class. I absolutely love them when I'm at home. You could also, if you're on a night out, you could add alcohol to it. I wonder, actually.
Unless you're a fucking reptile.
You
I've done that once.
Protein vodka.
Yeah, I've done that once with regular whey protein. It doesn't, like, your liver is just going to be clear in the alcohol. Like, you're not going to be getting, you won't stimulate muscle protein synthesis, which is the point of having a serving of protein, because that won't happen until after your body clears the alcohol.
Right.
So
okay. So maybe
don't
don't
worry
do
about
that one. But definitely highly recommend using Clearway Isolate. If you don't like the normal protein powders, it's basically just protein juice in your water, which is a win-win in my opinion. Other ones kind of mentioned before, but boiled eggs, they can be very handy in a lunchbox. Bring 2 or 3 of them. Handy to chomp on. Bring some salt and pepper with you if you're feeling like Gordon Ramsay on the go. Other ones are like protein bars. Just one thing I would say though when it comes to protein bars is actually look at the back of the labels, because you could be getting shafted for the amount that you're paying, and it ends up being a really poor protein source. So just a quick tip, if you're looking at the back of the protein, make sure that one of the first ingredients on the list is anything to do with whey isolate, whey protein, milk protein. Any of those 3 is what you really want to be looking for, because there's a lot of protein bars out there that have fuck all protein, or the actual protein source is crap, which the likes of like collagen and stuff. You end up paying a lot more for them. So just make sure that you're not getting shafted with that. But protein bars are great. We really like the Grenade Oreo ones.
Yeah.
And the Red Fulfill bar is also the best quality protein bars out of the Fulfill brand.
I checked that. I don't think that's the case anymore. They might have changed the ingredients.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, I think they do have like good quality protein, but they have like collagen hydrolysate quite high up in the ingredients, which is it is protein, but it's not the protein that's involved in building muscle. So it won't help you look like you go to the gym.
The other one as well that we quite like, but I don't have them too often, is All Real bars. They're really good. They're like 20 grams of protein. They're very handy.
No, they're like 16.
They have 2
Do they?
kinds, 2 sizes, yeah.
Oh, I've never seen a 20-gram protein one.
Yeah. And then the other one that isn't very popular, but I do see them every now and again in like Aldi, Lidl, and they're quite popular in like Eastern European countries, is Quark bars. So you'll have to have them within the fridge, like store them in the fridge. It's basically Quark yogurt, like coated in chocolate, a thin layer of chocolate. They're quite nice as well. They're quite different. I don't see many people actually having them. But they're the main protein snacks that I would recommend to people, and they're very handy to get your hands on as well as a little added extra. Other things as well you can do is there's like protein yogurts that are like dessert flavored as well. They could be pretty handy, like cheesecake flavored ones for the evening time if you find that you haven't hit your protein by the end of the day. But that's all the ones that I could think of anyways off the top of my head for snacks. Is there any other ones you'd add?
Yeah, so a couple of clients that I've worked with have they've had some unique sources of protein. One from Australia had just snacked on barramundi, like fish. So they can buy like smoked barramundi in the shop.
I've never heard of barramundi.
It's a fish that they catch over in Australia, and it's really popular, like in their diet.
Oh.
And they buy it just like we buy chicken, apparently. And yeah, they just snack on that. It's like pretty cheap protein source. And it goes without saying, any meat or fish, you don't have to have that in a meal. Like, you can just have extra and snack on that.
Yeah.
If you don't fancy a protein bar or protein yogurt, if you'd rather shit in your hands and clap and eat another one, sometimes you'd be feeling like that.
Yeah.
Fry up a bit of chicken and just have that with some nothing, some salt and pepper in a bowl, some seasoning, if you like, or some sauce, sweet chili sauce, and just enjoy it like it's popcorn while you watch a movie. And it's definitely on the more less socially acceptable side of things, but no one's realistically going to turn their nose up at that. Everyone would, if you're hungry, it's always going to be a good time.
Just don't be pawing at it with your fingers at a bare minimum. Use a fork.
No, I'll go like dip in the fucking hand.
No.
Like it's a bag of crisps.
No.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't do that now. I'd have to use a fork.
They're even bringing in things in like Lidl and Aldi now. Lidl and Aldi have loads for protein, by the way, especially in Ireland and the UK.
Chicken skewers are unreal. Teriyaki ones, I'm not going to gatekeep that.
But they're bringing in like snack chicken, which is like, it's kind of like, it's in the refrigerator section.
They already have them.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I said bring it in. They
Yeah.
have like snack chicken. I don't know how you would describe that. It's like chicken balls, is it?
I'll be honest, I personally don't like them. I've tried it.
Really?
They're the chicken in the packets. They're quite dry, and I actually couldn't even finish my first bite. I didn't like them. But some other people, that might just be me, might be my texture issues.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a vegetarian or vegan, then you have like seitan strips.
Tofu strips.
Tofu, yeah. If you go in Tesco, you'll have I forget the name of the brand, but it's a blue and orange colouring. Someone will tell us. And you used to not be able to do this, but now you can easily get like snack vegan chicken, basically in a shop. Pick that up and eat that on the go. It doesn't have to be Baby Bells with the cheese. You can get regular cheddar cheese slices, low fat.
Yeah,
in
Barry
your brand.
likes chomping on cheese slices.
Oh yeah. And they have like adult cheese strings over here in Hungary, where we are at the moment.
What makes a difference between adult and child cheese strings?
Do you really want to know?
Yeah.
The adult one doesn't have smiley faces on it, but everything else is the exact same. They just don't have like caricatures.
Caricatures?
Yeah, because they
You
turn
mean characters? What the?
Yeah, but
what
caricature
was
isn't
what is
a
that?
caricature is like when you
Caricature?
turn an inanimate object into a character. So a character is like,
I've never heard of that word before. Caricature.
it is a word. I'm not 100% sure if I'm using it right.
I thought you were like slipping up there, like
No.
stuttering.
No, it's 100% a word. So a character is like a Teletubby. That's a character. A caricature is like Kevin the Carrot in Little. That's the difference.
Yes.
Or Henry the Hoover. I think.
All right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's when you have like an object and you turn that into a character.
I see. Interesting. Any other snacks you'd add to the list? Dog food.
Dog food.
Get
Skirting
your
board.
toes away, because the videos are awful. I'm sorry for you guys that have to watch this, but the state at the bottom of his socks that he
Walk around
puts on
too
the
much
table.
in the socks. Gotta get the dogs out, let them breathe.
No, don't let the dogs out.
I think that's all for today, guys. I need to add in at the end, by the way, if you're someone that struggles with getting in protein at the moment and you want me and Tegan to build you out your own structure and work with you one-to-one to help you get in shape so that you look like you go to the gym, do a bit of what we're doing. Oh, fucking hell, Tegan's dying over here.
Sorry, I went down the wrong hole. Sorry, go on.
You done?
Yeah.
You done choking? Come on, get it all out. There we go. If you wanted to work with us one-to-one, and we can cough all over you too, DM us on Instagram, either of us, Transformation, and we'll send you more info about how the coaching works.
Okay, bye.
See you later.